The topic for today is immunology, and the speaker that we have here is Dr. Saibal Moitra, who is a professor and senior consultant at and allergy and immunology depth of pulmonology in Apollo Multispeciality Hospital, Kolkata. Sir, you may start now.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so good evening to all. So this is actually a brush up of the immunology, and I would just go through the basic tenets of the immunology, which you need to understand and know while you are dealing with any means disease or anything of that sort. Because once you should have a fair knowledge of the immunology, which actually helps you to understand the pathomechanisms behind the various diseases, whether it's autoimmune condition or an allergic condition, or for that matter, cancer, or means any inflammatory conditions. Okay, so means after the class we can have a Q&A session, and maybe if you want we can have another revision class of immunology. So the objective of this lecture is to provide fundamental concepts on the immune system. It's for the general medical audiences who are aspiring for the MRCP exam. Okay, so you see there's many things inside. No, this seems to be a very busy slide. Okay, with lots of things scribbled around. So seems to be a complex slide. This is what our immune system is. Immunology is a complex subject. So it's a network, okay? And in the web of this is system, there are many things which goes on occurring, okay? But there is always is a tandem inside it, how it functions, how it works. And there are some basic principles on which our immune system works. We'll try to understand the basic principles, and then you will see that all these busy diagrams which is there, it would not appear that busy, and you would be able to correlate it in any disease conditions. So I would discuss mainly the origin of the vertebrate immune cells, that is number one, then the principles of the innate immunity, the principles of the adaptive immunity, and the effector mechanisms of the immunity. So our immune system is a defense system. Right, we have this panoply of means millions of organisms outside us. It could be a virus, bacteria, fungi, protozoa, or maybe multicellular elements. So which is there to attack our body. So our body needs to defend itself from all these organisms which is around. So you see, it's a hostile world, and to live in a hostile world, we should have a strong defense mechanism which is going to prevent us from getting a disease or getting degraded. So why do we have an immune system? First of all, we know it's a defense system, so we need to recognize the pathogens, which is non-self, and to organize a defense response to any pathogens which enters our body. And at the same time, it helps to destroy and eliminate the pathogen which has entered the body. So this is one of the functions of the immune system. So other functions of the immune system we all know is the immune surveillance. Immune surveillance is it helps to detect any rogue cells which have come up inside the body. So it detects as that rogue cell immediately and kills it off and prevents it from multiplying and causing a disease in the host. So that means immune surveillance, which is very, very important in diseases like in cancer, where there is the suboptimal immune surveillance leads to the growth of cancer cells. And there are various ways in which the cancer cells can bypass this immune surveillance mechanism in an individual. Okay. So these are the main purposes. Now, where do these cells originate from? So when we talk about the immune system, it's not only the cells, that is the lymphocytes we are talking about. So all the cells which comprise, which takes part in an immune defense mechanism, they all come from the hematopoietic stem cells in the bone marrow. So that is The bone marrow or the hematopoietic stem cells give rise to all the cells which takes part in the immune defense mechanism. Now, so what happens is that we know very early in the maturation of the cells, the metabolic stem cell, it divides into a common lymphoid progenitor and a common myeloid progenitor. The common myeloid progenitor then gives rise to a granulocyte or the macrophage progenitor, and it also gives rise to a megakaryocyte or erythrocyte progenitor. Out of this, the megakaryocyte or erythrocyte progenitor are mainly involved in the need or it gives rise to RBCs and the platelets. So RBC do not play much role in the immune defense mechanism because it is needed for oxygen transport. But nowadays, we started to understand the role of platelets in the immune defense mechanisms as well. Now, if we talk about the granulocyte, the macrophage progenitors, so this gives rise to all the granulocytes which we see in the blood. That is the neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils. Then we have the monocytes. And when it goes inside the tissues, it gives rise to the mast cells, and from the monocyte gives rise to a monocyte-derived macrophages in the tissues. So you see all these cells, they are involved in the innate immune mechanism. So all the cells of the innate immune mechanisms are derived from the common myeloid progenitor. Now, what the common lymphoid progenitor gives rise to? It gives rise to the lymphocytes, the B cell and T cell, and also the NK cell. Okay. So this is very interesting because we know that the NK cell, or for that matter, the innate lymphoid cells, which comes from the common lymphoid progenitor, these are the cells which are involved in basically the innate immune response as well. But the T cell and the B cell, they're the archetypal cells which are involved in adaptive immune response. So this goes and populate the lymph nodes. The lymph nodes, they mature further and give rise to effector cells. The B cells give rise to the plasma cells, which produces antibodies and releases it into circulation. And the T cells give rise to the activated T cells, the T helper cells, T cytotoxic T cells, things like that. And NK cell can give rise to the activated natural killer cells. Now we have this another very interesting cell, that is the immature dendritic cells. Now, where this immature dendritic cell comes from, we know that the immature dendritic cells, they actually they take the information and from the innate system and passes it to the adaptive system. They're the postman which connects as the takes the letters from the innate house to the adaptive house. So these cells, now we know that they usually have a debatable origin. Some says that it comes from the mesenchymal cells, or some has it is from the common myeloid progenitor cells, but it is still a debatable thing. But this actually it is the region between the innate and adaptive immune system. So though it has been put into this white, a yellow bar over here, which goes to tissues, forms the immature dendritic cells, and which was a mature dendritic cells. So this is how the origin of all the vertebrate immune cells, which originate from your hematopoietic stem cells in the bone marrow. So when we talk about the immune system, it mainly comprises of two arms. One is the innate immune system, and another is the adaptive immune system. The innate immune system, we know it's present from the birth. Specificity is pre-programmed, and it includes non-immunological cells also, like the skin and the cilia. So when we say that innate immune system consists of the physicochemical barriers. The physicochemical barriers includes the epithelial barrier, and along with that, the mucin, which covers the epithelium. And at the same time, we also have a microbial barrier, that is the microbiota, which is also a part of the innate immune system. And along with these physicochemical barriers, we have the various cells of the innate immune system, so which we just talked about, at all the granulocytes. And at the same time, we have the sentinel cells in the tissues, namely the main three sentinel cells, which we talk about in the tissues are the mast cells, the dendritic cells, and the tissue-resident macrophages. And all these cells of the innate immune system are basically, they recognize the certain motifs of the proteins or the molecules, which is not there in in the human and in the human system. And what are these motifs of the molecules? There are certain conserved molecules which is present in a organism which is required for the organism's sustenance. Okay, so thank you. Okay, so this is basically this is the conserved motifs. Okay, and so basically this physical chemical barrier, it helps in invading of the 99% of the organisms which comes in contact with our body. And when there is a breach in the physical chemical barrier, this actually the organism goes inside. So apart from that, we have the various cellular and the humoral components of the innate immune system. There is adaptive immune system. Adaptive immune system they develop during the life, and with exposure to the infection, the adaptive immune system kicks in. And this adaptive immune system is basically comprises of the lymphocytes. We talk about the cells as the T and the B cells, and we talk about the antibodies, which are the humoral factors of the reactive immune system.